Hello and welcome to the Voice of the People. I'm your host, Kenneth Bryant Sr. Love enough to tell you the truth, and I respect enough to give you the facts. I'm also affiliated with the Parent Empowerment Group, and our mission is basically to empower parents to be supportive and loving and to advocate for their children in public education. And we suggest that they do that by supporting the teachers, supporting the administrators, guidance counselors, and also by creating a loving and supporting and a stimulating home environment and establishing structure and timetables, and above all, creating within your child or your student a sense of self-worth and give them activities and give them a culture of learning and to motivate them and to support them in any type of success that you witness. When you build upon that base of motivating children and rewarding them for their success, letting them know that failure, that's part of the process of moving forward and achieving, and that, to work hard and to never give up. Also, what we like to do is we like to have parents empower themselves in small groups, focus groups, by way of PTO, and also outside of that arena, just gather together to support one another, and that they understand that they are a stakeholder in the public school system, and they're the number one stakeholder. And once we give them that orientation of the leverage they have and the power they have to have a positive impact upon their child's education, we get more engagement, we get parents more excited, and as we increase their understanding of their role in public education, most folks will tell you that we will see an increase in student achievement. Now, every child is different, and most people and most parents, they want their child to do the best that they can. And so with that thought in mind, I always suggest in our workshops that parents develop a family plan for the child. That means to surround the child with loving adults, family members, that it's an organized effort to provide support. And one of the ways you do that is just 4 or 5 family members get together, make a list of your phone numbers, your email addresses, and that type of thing, and give that list to your administrator and to your teacher, to the school, so they'll know that this particular child, if something happens, if there's a concern, if there's a celebration, that they need to get in contact with anybody in this family. All 5 of these people have been designated as advocates and contact persons. And then also that team should have a timetable where collectively or individually that team visit the school at least twice or 3 times a week. And you do that to let the child know how important they are and how involved the whole family is in making sure that they have a positive experience in school and that they're successful and that they have the emotional support that every child needs. So those are some of the things that the Parent Empowerment Group does. We know that we've had some challenges historically for various reasons about parents not being fully engaged in public education. History tells me that process of not being involved started probably back in the late 60s and 70s when we had segregated schools. We had our own viable communities, and that public education was interwoven into our communities where our teachers lived next door. And it was all a communal type relationship. And then with the desegregation of public schools and the civil rights movement, a lot of parents were intimidated or had severe economic consequences from going to PTA meetings in the desegregated schools because they would lose jobs, and the systemic structure of that time, which lingers over today, has some serious consequences if you dare to challenge the system on any level. So we leave that alone and we move forward. But even today, it's so important that parents become involved. And the reason why you would like to be involved is that you want to go to your child's school. You want to form a PTO, a parent empowerment group, and also you want to go to the school board meetings, because it's at those school board meetings that you advocate and you express your concern and your support for the school that your child is involved in. Most parent groups, when they go to the school board meeting, they're going there to support their administrator, their principal, their teacher, and to support the school where their kids being educated at. And parents are our number one cheerleader and number one volunteers for public schools, particularly in elementary school up to middle school and high school. And don't be confused. Parental involvement is needed in elementary school, middle school, high school, and even in college. In college, it's the emotional support and it's financial support. And so parenting, is lifelong. And so that's part of what we advocate for and give orientation to. Is parenting is powerful, it's important, and it's the voice that must be heard. Particularly at school board meetings, parents demand that there's transparency and there's accountability within the school system, and particularly at the administrative level where decisions are made. And they also hold school board members accountable for oversight of that process and setting policies to make sure that kids learn, and to make sure that the folks that are hired through the public school system, the professional folks and the folks who earn a living, that they are the best employees they can be, and that we support them. And so it's so important that we focus on student learning. Now, when you don't have parental involvement, that's a big void, because what happens then when parents are not involved as the number one stakeholder, the parents hold the school board accountable, and the school board holds the superintendent accountable, and the superintendent runs the district and holds them accountable is for student learning. And so when you take the parents out of that equation, what you reduce to just a business that's been monetized, and the only people that are making decisions are the people that's getting a financial benefit from that. And so that's why it's so important in that equation that parents stay involved and remain active and supportive and advocate for what's best for children, okay? And so why is it so important for parents to come to the school board meeting? Well, it's important because, let's say 2020, we have a lot to deal with. One of the things we have to deal with is the pandemic. We have to deal with returning to learning, about the hybrid plan, about the virtual schools and e-learning. All those things are new. They're new to the school system, they're new to the parents, and new to the students. So oversight and accurate and complete information must be shared so we all can move forward, understanding where we're falling short and where we're doing good at. It's called continuous quality improvement, and it is necessary that we be truthful and honest about the challenges that we have. And one of the challenges we have now today in this climate is everybody's talking about systemic racism and how it's been interwoven in our society through all our systems, and public education did not escape that. Systemic racism is very much a part of public education. Going back to segregated schools and desegregated schools and integrated schools, and now back to segregated schools. A lot of school districts now are segregated because of our indicators, low income, housing shortages, healthcare disparities, civic engagement, economic inequality. And so we have a lot to work on. We cannot pretend that we don't have any challenges. And one of the challenges we have in a lot of in Spartanburg School District 7 is we have a minority school system. That's interesting because in the region, with School District 7 through 1, Spartanburg 7 is the only school district that's minority school district. Now, everybody knows that we have a high poverty rate, okay? 80% of the kids, minority kids, the black kids in Spartanburg School District 7 are experiencing poverty. And so we're doing great things in the district. Don't get it confused. We're doing great things. We have a lot of kids that's doing very well, and we market that and we celebrate that, and we're going to continue that. And so a lot of teachers are working hard, administrators are working hard, the school board is working hard, but we can't ignore the challenges that we have. Now, one of the challenges that we have, particularly on the south side in Spartanburg, where I'm a resident and I represent Spartanburg School District 7-1, is that we have some segregated schools, particularly elementary schools. Now, I represent Cleveland Elementary, Carver Middle School, and Cleveland Academy, and they're doing an excellent job. We have great administrators, have great teachers, and the success that we are experiencing looks kind of like this. We have about 30% of the kids that are meeting standard and proficient in English language arts and math. So that's excellent, that's powerful. But the challenge we have 7% of the students that are not experiencing that success. And so it is, I think it is our responsibility to address that. We need a task force to address that level of success because it should be much, much more. And we must maintain high standards and expectation for all children in all zip codes. Now, everybody knows they're given the proper support, the proper interventions, and attention to our values, reflect our values in the budget. And when you look in the budget, that will tell us how we value those children. And so we have too many children that can do much better, and that we owe it to them to support them because they represent the future. They represent the next generation of taxpayers. They will buy homes, they will consume goods and services. And so they will benefit the city and the county of Spartanburg. And the Spartanburg Chamber of Commerce, they're on board with that. We have a lot of stakeholders, community persons, they're on board with that. The challenge that we have is that poverty is a powerful factor and it's a barrier. And it's a challenge, but it's not impossible to overcome. If we look around in the black community in particular, most of us, black folks in America, we have come through poverty and we have been successful in spite of poverty. So we have to be careful about shutting down and not being innovative and creative and moving forward together to help kids that need to be successful. So we cannot normalize or tolerate kids not reaching their full potential. And that's why it's so important that parents and community persons come to the school board meeting to listen to us discuss openly and honestly the challenges that we have in the district. Now, don't get me wrong, I think we're in a good position because we're excellent in so many ways that we have a foundation of success that we can feed off. We have situations in our community. We have two communities. You have a black community and you have a white community. A lot of folks in the black community are having feelings and realities that relate to police brutality, black men being shot and killed. Our Spartanburg County indicators reflect that we're living in a substandard fashion because of the high rate of poverty, average family making less than $25,000 a year. So we should be excited about the work that we have to do. And so I encourage you to support your child, go to the school, support the administrator, the teacher, and everybody, and come to the school board meeting to support your school board and to challenge your school board and to voice your concerns and to celebrate our success. Let's don't get it confused. We must move forward together, maintaining the success that we have. and also being bold enough and committed enough and having a value system that does not allow us to quit on children. I'm your host, Kenneth Myers Sr. I love enough to tell you the truth, respect enough to give you the fact. In case you didn't know, the next school board meeting for Spartanburg School District 7 is September the 8th at 6 p.m. at the school district headquarters office. So, come a little early, around 5:30. Make sure you bring your mask. And if you're listening and this is not your school district, go online on the website for your various school districts and find out when the next school board meeting is, because the school system will be better with your participation. And in conclusion, do not forget to get counted, Census 2020. And do not forget to get registered to vote by October the 3rd. And please exercise your right to vote on November 3, 2020. I'm your host, Kenneth Myers Sr. I love enough to tell you the truth, and I respect enough to give you the facts.